It's I'm just saying, I'm real quick. Let's go live right now, and I'll do another intro just because well, yeah, we're going live on YouTube. Yeah, we're live now. So, yeah, wherever you are, where you want to go on that, like, I can. Let me see. We're live on YouTube. Yeah. So, yeah, hey guys. I already kind of did an intro at the beginning, but we have Oksana Buchanan with us. She's James Rink's good friend, and she's here to share some memories of James today. She knew James for a long time, and they worked together for, like a really long time. Him, her, and Priscilla, they were like a team. And yeah, I just wanted to do another intro. She's going to share some in memories and stuff today. So, Oksana, thank you so much for coming back on again. And sorry about the interruption. And I'm really honored to have you here. And yeah, thank you. How are you?
Thanks. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. Yeah, I'm glad to I'm still recovering the memories, because it's been almost 6 years I've known him, and there's so many things we've done that it kind of unfortunately, I don't have the recordings of the investigation sessions we've done. We've even done Harry Potter. There was once investigation session too. We've done very interesting series of investigations on Antarctica Black Shield. That's probably the most amazing because it turns out that my grandfather, who was invited to work at the University of San Francisco, he was a scientist in 1999. There was a program Scientist of Millennium. He was invited from Kiev, Ukraine to work, and he lived in the Bay Area in San Francisco. I saw him when I walked through the gate. So how it looks, the black shield, right? The gate is just like giant. It looks like metal, like old-fashioned kind of like arched. And it looks like it's snow, but when you come towards it, it's just a hologram covering the gate. And when you kind of touch it, it opens up, like snow dissipates and you see the gate and it opens up. So, and there's like a big dark tunnel. I remember lights running above the ceiling long, and there was like you walk first, and there on both sides there were those tubes where they would grow hybrids. They were just like amazing hybrids. We would see the numbers and the names for them. But
Wow.
then if you go further, yeah, there was like amazing. I remember there was like a body of a human with the tail of some sort of crocodile, but more like amphibian creature with those hands, and the eyes could be eyes of a spider. It was pretty amazing. There were multi functional creatures that they would be sent to different to do different missions later if they survived the hybridization process and the growing, because they would have to feel the gels, refill the gels, because they are those where they see. I'm an immunologist. I know lab work, so you need to special solution for the culture to grow. The same idea was hybrids, and you have to change it as the hybrid grows. And that was an interesting process because even on the moon, I saw the same facility close to that inside, and you have to like put the tube so the tubes would stand up vertically, and then you would have to put it down horizontally, and then slide out the being on the. It's kind of like the what medical professionals have, like a table, metallic table,
Yeah.
and then they would bring it to the lab. They would do enhancements, all kinds of injections, to enhance the body to make sure, and test implants also on it if they can, survive with those implants if they take them. It's kind of like transplants. Sometimes they would reject them. Um, and then later, I don't remember the details. James was typing. He would never record for some reason. Maybe he was afraid that somebody would take the recordings. I have no idea. But he was such a fast typer. I could just hear throughout the session, you know. And there was like a room number and the name. And the guy shows up, and that's my grandpa. For you to understand, my grandpa was adopted by Ukrainian family from Russian orphanage after the war. And he's Alexander Menshov, his name was, he already passed. And he was a Jew. But in those Soviet times, you couldn't say you had a Jew, somebody in the family, right? But Jews kind of like knew each other. And my mother would always say, look, all my friends are those. And my mother was a scientist also, just like my grandpa. My grandpa went to the medical institute. She went to a biology department to become an immunologist. Um, he shows up and says, and that was after he died. He shows up in that session and says, Oksana, well, he said it kind of interesting. They made me go from the physical level. And we're developing something very important here. That's important for the government, but I cannot, it's a secret, like you can't talk about it. And I saw quite a few different, though he was wearing this white robe like he would always wear. It was really crazy how James would always like lead me with his topic somewhere where the puzzle would come together. The same like we did this session to see how he deleted my files because I wanted to go from SSP, being an SSP. It's almost like because your life here in the physical runs in parallel with that when you're sent to missions, right? And at some point, I had this spontaneous Kundalini awakening when I was meditating since the age of 16. Because my mother was an interpreter. She interpreted Maharishi Yogi. They taught me mantras. And I was going through a tough time in my life. I started meditating many, many times a day for many hours. And boom, Kundalini started. I mean, who doesn't know it's a horror story when it starts spontaneously? You feel like somebody plugged in electrical cord to you and they're literally shooting electricity through you day and night. They don't care that you have 4 little children. Just, you can't sleep at night. Because the minute I would like relax and stare at something for a sec, I would start doing this with my body and I couldn't control it. So I had to keep the consciously focus of attention in public, not to start doing like this or like this, because the constant, opening up, I guess, of memories and everything started happening. At that time, as I understand, I asked James, because he was a higher rank, to delete me from the system. And I remember, was it on the moon or Mars? I think it was Mars because I remember myself in gray uniform. James was in black. We were running and it was interesting portal from the moon. You run, it's like a tunnel and it spins and then it becomes like water and it goes into Mars. And once you pass through that water, kind of like waterfall in the middle of the tunnel, like separating portals, I guess, you look different and you are in a different uniform. I couldn't understand, as if you got undressed and dressed in different thing. And I remember passing by, there was like a building on Mars. There was a dining area for soldiers. There were like higher ranks in like almost in the middle, and the lower ranks like soldiers over there. And James was like, he had this nice personality even there. And he would talk. He was not supposed to talk much, personal stuff. But I also remember going through the tunnel and there's just like a door and I could see through the door. And I remember Penny Bradley. I remember her dressed in a dark fleet type outfit, black. And there was she was doing interrogation with reptilian. There was like 2 reptilians. It's memory. It's been done 5 years ago for you to understand the session. So, but that they were doing some stuff to the person to make the person talk. And back then I realized that's a good thing I want to go away from the Dark Fleet because it's not good. And then Chris O'Connor, when I was watching his show, he confirmed, he said the Dark Fleet people were doing some not so good stuff. So James runs and he says, they spotted us. So he runs to the computer room and I kind of like watched behind, but he did something with his hand. The screen showed up. The other computers look super old, like in my childhood, like literally old TVs, like boxes. But this
Yeah.
one showed up and how did he punch the codes and stuff? No, there was like a transparent glass, almost like a holographic keyboard, and he punched something without even looking at it. And they showed my files, and I remember him deleting them, and it's just deleted. But then the alarm started going off, but it wasn't like a bell alarm. It was like a quiet frequency vibration thing. And he said, come on, we need to go. We need to hide. So he closes it was like this, and we run. And back then I understood why. So Chase or Hendrix, his name in on the Jungle Planet, he was an SSP. He was on James's podcasts, and he used to do his channel. It's still up. It's called Starseed Talk. I was on it, and my child was on it. She was 9 years old. She always remembered how she came to this planet, how she was abducted by reptilians from her elf planet, from her mom and dad. And so she did a show. So Hendrix or Chase, his real name in this life, tells James, okay, call Oksana because she might help you with sessions or whatever. The minute I see James when we opened the cameras for the to do session, the first session, the very first time I saw him like this, I get this feeling I owe this person. I owe this person so much. I need to give him something, like you know that he did something great for you and you don't know what. And the session like showed me what I owe to him. Because he did this great thing. I was so glad I disconnected from SSP, and that's why he would put like Oksana veteran, SSP veteran on the all these boards of the conference, billboards and stuff, advertisements. Uh, because the thing is what happened to James. So there was another session. I remember seeing him in sarcophagus, and he said, "What is it? A Cybertooth?" His name was. Yeah, Captain Cybertooth, something like this. I drew the picture how I saw him. He gave it to the artist, and I know he used it a lot. I remember an article on his website, 100%. The artist drew it perfectly how I saw it. And I remember James would always complain about the left side of his throat hurting all his life. It's my story, the same thing. I always had a tightness in my left ear. My left side of my throat was always hurting. And I saw the inserts on the left ear of that clone of his, on the going through the left throat cord, through the heart, down, down, down. And that made sense why the left side is hurting. Because for some reason, if you start noticing in the pictures, they would insert implant in your left eye and your left ear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was born with my left side much smaller than right, and I believe it's because they insert the implants in there, and they implants kind of like block your vital energy going through the body, so it doesn't get to grow
Yeah.
as much as the right side. But yeah, that was an interesting session because we realized how many clones he had. And it was so many, it's mind-blowing. And each clone, it takes from 3 to 10% of your life energy. That's why, he would say like, oh, I'm so short. So here's the thing for you to understand. If the soul is very strong and powerful, they want to split it up, to fragment it, and take tiny fragments and put it on the body. and make sure that a lot of times the stronger, the more powerful the soul, the smaller the body. That's how James was. He like always wanted to magically grow bigger, you know. But it's a program also. It's like you feel insufficiency, you feel diminished, belittled, you know, by the program that put into your brain, because the brain is totally a computer. Our body is it's a computer. Brain is a processor. It processes the signal. um and they recently, actually, David Icke said they recently started doing at the hospitals in UK, when they block the brain's ability to decode the pain signal from, you know, when after surgery or whatever, and the patient would not feel the pain, which is really fascinating. That proves the point.
Yeah.
So then I remember, oh yeah, about the Earth. I've seen a lot of different emblems. I remember this one. I saw it a lot. I drew it here, but I know I cannot really show it to you, because if I try to, it would just like, see, just can't really. I'll send it to you later. James, he had a much better versions. He had a professional versions done. Anyway, it's a German eagle, you know, with his legs out, and his claws on the legs holding the planet Earth. Continents look different. It was like a regional Earth or something. And there was a chain around it with a little I think it was something on the chain, like a lock maybe, but here it doesn't say it, because it just said Earth and chain around. Okay, but that proved that the Earth is the prison planet, and we saw more than 100 of prison planets with him. And that's when they would always put monetary system and religious to make you, because you need to guarantee your body survivals, right?
Yeah.
For that you need money, and a lot of times they would put you in a situation. By the way, they put James throughout his life in this situation. He would always call me. Somebody always would steal his identity, open fake accounts. There's so many stories. It was nonstop with this money stuff, bombarding him with this particular. And he was always afraid. And when you're afraid, you know, it's like you manifest it, you attract it, you magnetize.
Yeah,
And
I
you
agree.
cannot not be afraid if if they keep doing it to you.
Yeah, they put you in a they put us in a constant state of fear, so we react. Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was the thing. So, just as a disapproval for all the new ages who say we came here for, you know, experiencing, learning. How can you learn anything if they erase your memory with electroshock? I mean, we've been with James. I remember this. That was an interesting session. So, I see him as little, sitting on the chair, somewhere in astral. You know, there's many platforms in the astral, many layers, and they all like traps of the. It's like a matrices of the astral matrices, right? They're here's we're in the physical one, and he's sitting there. There's like two blank screens, white screens, and behind the white screens, not gonna say the names of people because they have channels and stuff. But they are behind them, programming him as little boy, you know, telling him what he's gonna do. It coincides what he's doing in life. So they wanted to, first of all, there was also for trauma, for create trauma in his life and his mind.
Yeah.
To those people also made him believe they were friends in physical life. So a lot of people who were friends in physical lives are not friends. On their side, on that side, they were fragmenting him, damaging him, you know, torturing him mentally. So that was tough to see. And they've been doing it to a lot of kids, not like he's the only one.
Yeah.
Then we saw the orphanage on Mars. I clearly remember that. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. There was a woman in an apron. It's like from 50s, 60s, I don't know, old fashioned kind of like clothes, black gown with apron. white apron or gray, something like this. And there was another one who was a reptilian one wearing the same outfit. So it's like, so kids get used. So there's a reptilian, there's a human. There was his brother. His name was Mooney. It was interesting. Mooney or Looney. See, I don't remember anymore because I didn't, he would never send me the text. What we would do after sessions, he would say, okay, Oksana, I missed some stuff, obviously, and I made mistakes. Let's go through it. And I'm like, James, I was deep in alpha. But that's what I do in sessions. I don't put people in trance. I go myself in trance for them. And I barely remembered anything. Because it fades away like a dream. He did an article and posted on his website about his brother Mooney or Looney. Okay, don't quite remember. Then I remember we did. So there was this girl McKenna. She might be watching. She in so there's LA and then what's that other beautiful city next to it? Just
San
kind of
Diego.
San Diego, right? She's from San Diego, and we did some sessions with her. So we did the session Flowers of Mars. I have the album here with it. I wish I could show you. Because James by accident put not Oksana, but there's a story with me and my mom. My mom's name was Marina, and my name is Oksana, and they would always call me Marina and her Oksana. And I see it just wouldn't show. It's just crazy. Okay, I'll send you a picture of it. He posted this picture on his in the article. So what I saw, the original race on Mars, it was blue sky, two suns, beautiful green. People were levitating above grass. Nobody was stepping. There were these beautiful flowers growing that I'll send you the picture of. Um, kind of in between lotus flower and something else, but they different petals. And there was like kids all over in white, kind of long gowns, blonde hair, blue eyes. Some of them green eyes, but the idea is like Aryan race. And they were not eating; they were drinking water from flowers, like nectar. And they were healing themselves with flowers because I remember we walked into this round bubble, looks like a crystal or glass, levitating there in the air. It was like a lab. They would bring the flower, they would collect the flowers, bring them in, and they would make mm, like a smoothie out of them. And when you put it over your body or whatever was, I don't know if it was hurting or something, but it was like a frequency healing,
Yeah.
right? Because technically, I didn't see that they could hurt themselves, which is really interesting. Uh, they could switch their frequency, they could go to different layers, different dimensions easily. That was very interesting because then I saw myself in Mars Defense Force. That's when one woman came to me. She was super nice. I mean, by the way, thanks to her, she did a lot of for James on his website for free. She just wanted to do something nice to him because she was going crazy. You know why? Because she was also in Mars Defense Force, and I remember her in this kind of puffy white outfit. She was doing something like air blown inside with stripes on the side. But she was doing something I was not doing what she was doing. I would wear this kind of like a beige brown camouflage uniform with black boots, and we would watch for somebody coming to attack us or something because the emotion is like adrenaline in the body, and you have this device on your left arm, Some had like a almost like Apple Watch type thing. Others had bracelets. I remember having some sort of bracelet that would have this light and it would project a map of the surface. And I remember walking and out of the corner of my eye seeing those black spiders in the caves. And they were a giant, like really huge herons. And sometimes they would just, it's almost like some sort of AI thing. If you see their eyes light up, and they would, I remember green light up. Maybe some people remember red. I heard red also. And they would just like run after you. They would try to eat you, or but the thing is, if they ate your arm, for instance, or leg, they would just like attach another one easily. Because there was another facility over there where doctors worked. And I remember that like the huge like a metallic table on the wheels, and they had like limbs. Like it was so weird, like an arm, a leg, and they could use it to attach it to your body to but then they could also regenerate, but I felt like regeneration would take longer. I think I remember it right. A lot of memories actually my subconscious blocked with James is like almost all of them. Because when you see something traumatic or something traumatic happens to you, I guess you just prefer not to remember, because it would interfere with your conscious and your physical life and would put more trauma, even though we're overloaded with trauma anyway in daily life already. Yeah, I remember that. And I had flashbacks with the spiders, Mars, also, oh, we've done a lot of sessions on James's childhood. That was really interesting. How, yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't want to talk about this part because it's kind of like family related, but um, he did have a lot of encounters with mantis, and we looked at those. And one of the mantis, he called a friend. And I remember him showing up in the session too. And it's like duality thing. There's positive, there's negative, in beings also. I have seen once in my session this strange thing. There was a family of reptilians, and they were nice. They were originals to Mars, and they had a family with two kids, with a mom and dad. And I remember this guy saying it was my client who was a reptilian. He was called by some like he was called, I don't remember, on some sort of device, I guess, or telepathically. I don't remember that, but they were super telepathic. Anyway, he told his wife that I need to go to Earth, and he had to specify which number of Earth. I think it was Earth 3 or 4, maybe 4. Anyway, there's many numbers of them, many projections of the Earth. By the way, I saw projections of the Earth in my very first session, 2016, when I had this spontaneous Kundalini awakening. I went to Alba Weinman. She just started doing sessions back then, and imagine this multiple Earths lined up like beads on a thread. And I was shocked, like, what is this? And she said, that's normal, just projections. There are many of them, this endless number. Um, and he was told he has to go and do something here on one of the projections of planet Earth. And I remember his kids, his reptilian wife, and they were so upset. He had to go again. He had a uniform. I clearly remember he had like a military uniform on to go. And I think he went to underground bases because the amount of bases we have, it's just like so many of them. It's crazy how many times we would go there to delete. We would delete contracts. in the computer on Mars or the moon, then he would have to go in Nevada or New Mexico or any other of those locations and go delete paper copies of those also. And I remember with James, we went to one facility he led me to, and on the door on the ground there was like two hammers crossed. Two hammers crossed. And that was not a good facility. Skull and bones, we've seen those a lot too, but this was two hammers. And that was after he was attacked or something, because a lot of times he would like send me a picture and say, Oksana, I think I was either taken or attacked again. And like, can we look? And we would like get together to do a session to look what happened. See, most of the time, if not always, they would do something. If it happened in the physical life, you're under attack, they would do something in the non-physical to you in parallel. It's kind of like when people have surgeries, they always have a surgery in the non-physical. That's why James would always like to go to different medical locations here to see. Oh yeah, we've seen jump rooms too in hotels. Hilton Hotel, I remember that one. I clearly remember how rad the furniture was, how soft the particular material, fuzzy, and the golden tassels. So how do you call them? The like very covered windows so nobody could see, like thick material on windows. There was a jump room. And then we saw it was like a processing facility for souls. It was a fake um, source, what you call source. There's a fake source. It looks semi like a cloud. You know, like the draw a cloud where you store data,
Yeah.
but it was more like a cylindrical type thing. And I saw like shadows of people, which I saw in Nalba's also session. And in Alba's session, for you to understand, I did not know anything in terms of esoterical, anything even new age, nothing. I just woke up from being not awake, and I was just like shocked what I saw. Like, why are the shadow people walking through the tunnel? She says it's just a portal. So I saw this long portal going through to the artificial source, and how they were sent to different locations, because from outside you see it's small, inside you see it opens up like a castle thing, just like with giant rooms everywhere. There's a healing center, there's this a trauma center, whatever, some sort, with some sort of water that is it's like liquid crystal maybe. There's one with columns that look like an Atlantis. It was just very interesting. Speaking of Atlantis, look what James wrote on his book that I have, Changes on the Horizon by James Rink. I want to read this. So this book presents James Rink's superb 3-hour internet video. By the way, you can listen to it on his, you can find it on his channel. Changes on the Horizon in book form. You may want to watch this video before processing to read this book. Changing the in on the Horizon is the epic story of how the world lost its soul and how it will gain it back. Directed and narrated by James Rink, this project took James 3 years and thousands of hours of editing and re-editing to complete it. And there's like a nice picture of him, like he looks in his 20s. So what he wrote also, since the fall of Atlantis, Satan and his minions have been working timelessly to end all goodness of this planet. But God and the Brotherhood light, by the way, what he meant, God is like a unity of all our
Yeah.
souls, as creator beings. Because some people still imagine some sort of entity sitting on the throne. That's not what we saw in sessions with him. uh, to defeat the dark side. Throughout history, many prophets come forth to speak of the coming of golden age of humanity. This truth was made known only to fall silent on the death ears of the ignorant masses, but changes on the horizon. And by the way, I just want to tell you, December, I saw it yesterday and a bunch of people confirmed what I saw, feeling like December is going to be major attacks on the souls who spread the truth here. Because the split is going to be like in 2027 around that time, when some people will be, it's kind of like Atlantis, do you want to continue naturally your progress and raising consciousness, or do you want to rely more on AI and stuff? But I feel like we're being tested these days by people coming to you, because there's many agents of the matrix, as they are online, as they are in videos, in everywhere on your way. They're sent to you, you understand, to corrupt you, to corrupt your consciousness. I've been in the process of this myself. I'm going through this stuff, and it's important to feel people, feel their energy, feel what they're all about, and the truth will come true, because now is the age of truth. Truth vibrates higher. No matter how much they want to lie, they're just gonna come quickly. Well, that's about it. I guess it's been an hour.
Yeah, yeah, but this was good. Is there anything any final? When we're gonna do for you guys that are tuned in today, we're gonna do a show tomorrow night with me, Priscilla, and Oksana, and that'll be good. That'll be a really fun show. That'll be tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And then you guys can tell more, instances about James and stuff. This is a little bit early. I'm not used to doing early shows, but I mean, this was really good. This was really good information, Oksana. This is a good start. We can do a lot more.
Thank you. I'm guided by him. I know, it's just like I don't prepare for anything. It's just go in the flow.
Yeah, and then can you send me all your links and then I'll put them in the description and stuff like that? And do you want to
Okay.
tell people how they can follow you? And you do hypnosis, right? Like, you want to tell
I
people?
can put you, I took a course, I can put you into trance. Yeah, I can do induction, but mostly because I have such telepathic abilities, and I go into trance easily. I just have to close my eyes and I start reading you. We actually did this with James once, the live, when I read people. I don't have to see your face, and I don't even have to hear your voice. I just need your name. And that's what people come to me in sessions. They say, "Can you look at this person? Give me the name." And then I say, entity, from above, from around, you see how many entities the person has. I can see sometimes implants. I mean, if the person has an entity, there is implants, 100%. Um, and what we do with the person who comes for a session, um, I go into trance. I ask that person's soul permission to go into the energy sphere, because some implants are invisible. I have to touch the energy body, and then under my touch, the implant would appear. So you can miss it without doing that. Plus, sometimes people want me to see. They would say, okay, in my dream or in my meditation, I saw this being of light. It felt very good. And then I go back to that meditation on the timeline, and I touch the entity with the intention to read the original DNA, and the entity shows his true face, which is usually a reptilian, you know, not what, this I saw an angel. No, well, it's a reptilian. And yeah, but that's the thing. It's an Italian method. By Calogero Grifasi, to touch, because when I talk to James, I don't just channel his soul. I make sure that that's him. I look into his eyes. I touch him. I feel his energy. And that's what I do. I remove implants. I instruct your soul so you feel in charge, how to remove implants, what options you have, how to ask entities. We go back to the life before the first life on Earth, to figure out whether it was your personal decision to come here, or you were caught, like many souls are, and forced to come here. Because many of us don't feel like it's our choice, you know? And some of us came to help those to get out, to, by example, get out of the prison, because the more information we accumulate in this life, the better our chance to escape all the matrices, all the traps. And then that we do complete cleansing of mental, emotional bodies, implants, entities, all these attachments, energetic attachments. Then I look at the family members, kids, whatever they want me to look at, and we instruct them how to cleanse them too. Mm, that's what I do, and it really brings results. People come back to me after take second time, third time, bring relatives, and that's the biggest proof to me that it works. And a lot of time by the end of the session, they say, "Oh, my pain disappeared." So that's, but if you choose to stay with SSP and be on missions, you cannot completely get rid of entities and implants. You have
Yeah.
to remember this because they have access to you through your yes, I'm an active member. It's a contract. When you have any contract like this, anytime they can take you, send you to mission, put new implants into you, it's your decision. My decision was to completely disconnect from SSP.
Yeah. Because
So,
it's a lot dealing with the memories and stuff. I can imagine. Yeah. Well, yeah,
right.
but yeah, this was amazing. Do you want to tell people your website? And someone in the chat said every time you do a show, it's fun. They said they love your shows. So
Thanks. Yeah, I forgot about clones and hybrids. We also check on those because
yeah,
some
and
people have tons of them.
yeah, yeah. This was a good show. Yeah. Do you want to tell people your website? And thanks, Oksana. This was great.
Yeah, it's Oksana Buchanan. You can just Google my name and then it's slash telepath connects to your client soul or something. I changed it from regressive hypnosis because people automatically think I would put them into hypnosis. No, I put myself into self hypnosis because that's what I've been doing for SSP also. I would telepathically connect to alien species and translate what they're saying to the government members. Um, that's my channel on YouTube, Oksana Buchanan, also on Odyssey. By the way, a lot of videos YouTube erased, even with James too. I would post video with James, they would erase it and delete it, give me a strike. But a lot of them saved on Odyssey. I did rumble a little bit, but it just didn't really work out for me. I'm so used to YouTube and my clients, because they've been with me for 8 years, used to YouTube also. And there's my email there. I can give you my email. That's how you can book a session. And I made the prices super reasonable, like you can't find, because I really want to help. And I know people have financial problems, especially people like me and you and everybody else, Priscilla, James was. They always put so much trouble on our way that, especially financially, that you need help.
Yeah.
But that's it. Thank you
Well,
so
that
much
this
for
is
inviting me
amazing.
again. And yeah,
Yeah.
we'll have fun with Priscilla
Yeah.
and
Well,
you.
yeah, we'll see you guys. And I have more shows today. I'll be live. Let me see. For those of you that are watching now, I have Anchor Haven's going to do live readings tonight at 8 o'clock. Not, and then 9 o'clock, Tommy Edwards is coming on, and then there's a new show, Amy Elizabeth's on at 6 o'clock. So I have three more shows today, and so it's going to be a busy day. Yeah. So I'll see you guys later on this evening, and thank you so much, Oksana. You're amazing,
Thanks.
and I will be seeing
Thank
you
you.
tomorrow night.